5 more words.
Gen Z has turned right. Kennedy. New data, that's my favorite kind, from the 2024 election shows that Democrats are losing the youth vote with Gen Z. Those are in their late teens to age 28. Your dating group, Jim, they're the most conservative generation in decades, like 5 decades. Why do you think it is?
The same reason I joined the teen Republicans when I was in high school, to make people mad.
Yes.
It's the only way you can make people mad.
Your teacher hates Trump, wear a Trump hat.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yes.
And it's like, if you go along to get along as a guy, especially in high school, it's like, they tell you they hate you every single day. The Democrats, all they advertised was like toxic masculinity. Like Tim Walz is so sexy and so is Doug Emhoff because they have flabby man boobs. And they tuck their testes in a little satchel and they put it in their footlocker because they're grossed out by testosterone. Aren't they amazing? And every teenage guy is like, no, I want to keep my balls.
Yes. I want to keep my balls. That is a rallying cry for America.
Yes.
Give us back our balls. Tyrus, shouldn't we get a little credit for this? Weren't we the tip of the spear? The vibe-shifting cool cats at late night?
Yes, we were. We were. And that's why I also sit Y-wing all the time, too. No one's treading on my balls, yo. This is America. But Kennedy's right. It's not only that, they grew up during this. It's like, if you grew up during the Clinton era, there was a balanced budget, whether his dating practices you agree with or not agree with, he did some good things. So a lot of people grew up like, hey, I like the Democratic Party because it was good for me when I was growing up. But if you were growing up during the pandemic, during all this, during all the fake stuff, after a while, you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I can twist dad's man bun all messed up by putting on a MAGA hat. They're all in.
Yes.
Like no kid wants to wear Birkenstocks and high socks and stuff and say things like important and birthing person.
Yes.
Like make sure you pee when you sit down so you don't make your mom feel inferior. Not in my house. I'd pee everywhere to be like, let her know this is man country, mama. So I mean.
Mark your turf. That's what I say, Aaron, all the time. But it is like a flip from, I'd say, I mean, you weren't born then, but in the 70s, it was the Republicans who were the Dean Wormer, the scolds, and now we see the opposite.
It's true, and it can be very cyclical. I'd like to think, it's the millennial generation of Republicans like myself that made the party cool, but we really didn't because we weren't cool. But what we are seeing now is that, to Kennedy's point, so many of, especially young men in this country, were lambasted by the left into saying, you don't believe in equal rights. You're the problem with this country. You are what has made America wrong. And instead of just saying, forget you and going away and not being part of the process, the difference is now with Donald Trump, they see a reason to be involved in the process. These are new voters that are coming in off the sidelines, and it's a rejection not only of what the left is saying, but an activation to actually be part of it in a way that we haven't seen before.
Jim, isn't that a long way of saying it's more fun?
And you got to give Trump some credit for that. There's something to the way he communicates. Like, there's something relatable about the way he responds to things. She's fat, shut up. Like, there is something, but there's something very human about that. It's very blunt, and you can connect to a guy who's like, whether you agree or not, he's saying, at least in a way that is somewhat relatable as a person. Whereas when you look at Biden, it was all just nonsense, and Kamala didn't seem to talk in a way that most people are going to relate to. I think there's something about that communication. He's just funny and enjoyable to listen to. And when you're 15 and 16, you're like, why would I listen to this old corpse when this guy is telling her you'd be in jail and this guy sucks? I'm like, that's how I think. So I think there's something to that.
Yeah, you know what? You just made me think that, like, there's little things in culture that have probably bigger impacts. And one of them is the teacher in South Park. Yeah,
that's the principal.
Yeah, the principal. It's the teacher.
Mr. Garrison. Yes.
Yeah. It's that kind of like mentality that I think people just were like, that became real. Once you saw that on South Park and that changed your mind. I don't know.
No,
Well,
South Park also made it fun to make fun of the liberal bull.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so did we.
Amen.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.